it seemed like a setback, but at this point, us as a team, we're trained that whatever happens, we're moving forward. They're highly impactful. And then also to have like a living, breathing testimonial in the room with a parent that came and was willing to share her story and talk about what her experience had been like. I couldn't ask for like a better outcome, but I was in too deep and I had spent too much money, and so I couldn't back out. So if you or anyone you know is interested in having a home health agency, but you don't have the upfront income to do it, call me. Shout out to the two ladies that saw a post about us attending the family cafe, and they drove from Tampa area to come sit at 8:30 in the morning to listen to my presentation. Thank y'all. But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all's support, the words of encouragement. Like, as much as I hate making these videos, I am happy to know that my pain is serving a purpose. So the conference was a smash. And to back up, I went to the Family Cafe, the 27th Annual Family Cafe. And it's a conference, like an interdisability conference for the state of Florida. A lot of people was there, okay? I didn't realize until a week before the conference that the expected attendance was 15,000. I should have better prepared. But anyways, our idea was gold and very well received. So we initially, like immediately, the idea was to do like, at first I was thinking of bringing like face painting or, manicures for girls and haircuts for guys. Like I was trying to figure out what do disabled families have limited access to, or what are some of the services that are difficult for them to consistently get. And I wanted to bring that. So I was thinking like face painting or like press on nails or haircuts or just stuff. But in the end, we ended up going with a photo booth. So I'm like, okay, maybe the families don't get out a lot. This is like a vacation for many of them. Um, so let's offer family photos and let it be garden themed because each of the homes are the garden at XYZ. Um, I wanted it to be like more like a garden, like a backyard garden where you're growing your own vegetables and stuff, because those are the gardens we're gonna have at each of the homes. But I waited to the last minute to get my supplies, and the best I could do was just garden, period, not like
This is the face
garden.
of excitement.
So anyway,
the vision has come to life.
For a 7-day
Eva
turnaround,
and Antoinette, the divas.
It was beautiful. It was absolutely amazing. It looked like a garden, and everybody that walked by, you would see them look like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. Right? Like everybody wanted to come and get in the garden, you know what I'm saying? And what I loved was that we had the photo booth setup that we had. Rather than doing printing and props and all that stuff, we just did straight to text or straight to email. It was a way for us to capture information, but also the background frame that we used for the photos was a marketing card. It had all of our contact information on it. So we could really focus on just delivering the experience of taking family photos in a beautiful garden theme setup without having to sell our business or be talking about the group home unless somebody specifically asked. So framing the booth, we had our pop-up banners with shout-outs to Wraps for Less on East Colonial. They turned that shit around in 48 hours. Okay, go give them your business. We had these pop-ups that framed the booth, so when you came, you knew, who we were, and you could read all the information there. But for us, it was just, hey, come have this experience with us. If you're in a wheelchair, if you're in a bed, if you could walk, stand, sit, whatever it was, we were able to accommodate every level of ability in our setup because our photo drop was on wheels and we could like move it back and forth to make room for large groups, small groups. So that was great. What else do I want to say about that?
How you were gonna have a client visit, but it ended up not working out. But then it gave you the time to.
Well, yeah, of course I waited till the last minute. I didn't have all my stuff, and we were supposed to do a client visit on Monday. Load in for the conference was Thursday night. The client visit got canceled because the parent ultimately found another location, but that turned into I had a full day, and in that one day, I got everything I needed done for the conference, which was getting the proofs done for the vehicle wrap, for the banners, getting all the props for the set, and securing the photo booth company. So, it seemed like a setback, but at this point, us and the team, we're trained that whatever happens, we're moving forward as if, that's how it should have been. So the moment that got canceled, to Home Goods we went, and we spent the day in Home Goods collecting everything that we needed to create the most gorgeous garden ever, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah, and can you just talk about the Family Cafe and how that came to be in your awareness?
So we have a lovely parent that has our A1 day one. She was at our grand opening, and she stopped by on one of the days she was dropping off her kid, and was just like, "Yeah, have you heard of the Family Cafe? This thing is coming up. It's a huge conference, and it's your target market. You should go." And then she always goes, "Man, I hate telling you about this stuff because I don't want to get it too full here and not have space for my son, but." You really should go. That's where your target, demographic would be. So we're like, sure. So I signed up that night. And then she came back, "Hey, did you ever sign up for the thing?" I was like, "Yeah, I signed up 5 minutes after you told me." And then she goes, "Well, you probably should do a presentation there because there's a lot of things that parents don't know, and this would probably be really good." I was like, "God damn it, kind of you always got me doing some extra stuff." So we had missed the deadline, but I just emailed anyway and say, "Hey, I know I missed this deadline, but a parent just asked me to present there. Can you guys get me in?" And they did. So I was a late entry. One, my time slot was Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. and I was one of 30 other breakouts in that time slot. So I made my presentation 100% as if it was going to be a full arena, but I was just like, ain't nobody going to be in this room. First of all, it's 8:30 in the morning. I wouldn't be in that room at 8:30 in the morning. It's one of 30. What are the odds that this one thing about medical group homes and this whole interdisability conference has more than 2 or 3 people trying to see it? Plus, the day before, there were 2 other breakouts already on group homes or medical group home related things. I was just like, it's just going to be me, my one parent, and my team in this room. And I told them if nobody else come, I'm not doing it. All right. They're like, "Oh, you need to practice and do a drama." I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm not. If it's just y'all, we not doing it." But to my surprise, we had a very good turnout. I would say, what is that? 20 people. Okay. So the room probably sat 30 to 40. It was just one of those small hotel conference rooms, but 20 people showed up, and they was on time, honey. And they stayed the whole time. We were in there for an hour. So one, I was just amazed at the number of people that came to see this presentation, but that lets you know the level of need of information out there for families. And then we had great dialogue and discussion with the questions that they had after. And then my parent who was there, she stayed behind and talked to everybody because every parent wants to hear from someone who's had the experience already. So it was amazing to have the presentation. Within the presentation, we were able to share a case study and show before and after photos of an individual that was home for 30 years with family versus 4 months after he had been with us. And those photos, if anybody sees them, they're highly impactful. And then also to have a living, breathing testimonial in the room with a parent that came and was willing to share her story and talk about what her experience had been like. I couldn't ask for a better outcome for that presentation or for the reception of the photo booth and just the delight and joy on the family's faces. getting pictures with their kids, especially if we were able to get the kid to actually look at the camera when it's a kid that normally, is inattentive and not. So it was just all around. I could not have asked for a better outcome of this conference at all. It was our first time attending, and I absolutely believe that everybody that interacted with us, that either attended the presentation or stopped by our booth, they will remember the experience that they had, and that's all I could ask for.
Absolutely. I love the impact that we were able to have on the families, but also the conference was impactful for us and our business and just connecting us with some adjacent individuals to answer some questions, give us more direction.
So also a great networking opportunity in terms of just learning other things. So our booth was directly across from Florida Community Care, which started out as a pilot program to provide relief to disabled or developmentally disabled families that had not been able to get onto the APD waiver yet. And as of the end of last week, they had just been approved to launch statewide. So immediately that became okay, if someone came to my booth and they were still on the APD wait list, it was like, right across from me, if you step over to these guys, they have the solution to get you off. So now you're coming to us, and we now have something to refer you to if we can't help you immediately because we're APD. But also, we began our application on site to become a vendor for Florida Community Care, so that we can serve those clients too. And it was amazing. It's always great when the person that has to review your application or process or get it in can meet you, have a name with the face, have that relationship. You told me about the application, and 5 minutes later, you have my application while we're in the middle of a conference. So that was great. There were other PPECs there where they always have families that, as they're transitioning to adulthood, are looking for solutions and options. So to connect with those PPECs and make those relationships for them to have resources to share with their families transitioning to adulthood, that was great. We got a bunch of vendor contacts that for DME supplies and other medical equipment. I didn't get to see any of the breakouts because I was working the booth, but from like recaps that I'm seeing online, and that's the other thing, I forgot to tell people to post the photos that they took at our booth, but whatever. It was still great. We still have all those photos. What else?
I think we spent a lot of time on just like the photo booth and how beautiful it was and how amazing an experience it was for the families. And that's so critical because on the second piece of the relationships and the networking, like when people are observing your authentic expression of excitement and just like the impact that you're having on these families, they're like, wow, that's a business that I want to make, that I want to work with. And that leaves a lasting impression. So when you have CMS questions and you get to have one-on-one dialogue with the CMS representatives there, when you have questions for these different PPECs or these different care plans that are solutions to the APD waitlist, like your business name is front and center whenever, and the experience that they observed you provide to those families in that setting is front and center when.
Yeah, it was crunk. Okay, it was a lot of other photo booths there, and we would walk past them, and they would be chilling. We did not get to sit down. There was no break. And I don't know, I guess we were the noisy people on the aisle, and you just kept seeing people come by and look and try to figure out what the heck was going on because we were having a great time and probably making a whole lot of noise. But it was great. I didn't know what to expect, but it was just like 10 out of 10 all around the experience.
Awesome. Can you just provide us with a business update on where you are with the home, with licensing the second home, and with the home health care agency?
Well, we're in June, so the month of August, the second house is coming offline for short-term rental for 30 days so that we can get fire sprinklers installed and complete all the other requirements that the city has forced us to do this time around to get our change of use certificate so that we can submit our application to license that home. When we did the first house, we didn't have to have the fire sprinklers installed. I didn't have to make any changes to the house. This time, you have to have fire sprinklers to get the change of use. I have to make some like changes to the landscaping outside. I have to add an outlet for a generator. And I'm just like, anyways, the month of August, that will be happening. So hopefully all that stuff gets done. I get my change of use, and by October, I'm submitting for licensing with the goal to have the house, second house license before the year is out. I am hoping that from this conference, we are able to start getting some referrals to fill up the first house and start building a wait list for that second house. Mm. And in addition to that, by the end of the year, we will have the home health agency. Honestly, I just need to find a month where I'm not traveling so I can get that done. And I think it might have to be September. So I'll spend um, July, August serving the 10 clients so that I can call for readiness in September since I don't have any trips planned that month and get that done because once I am an approved vendor with Florida Community Care, having the agency allows me to be eligible for a higher rate than just as an APD agency alone. So I think that with the APD agency alone, it's 110% over APD rates. With the home health agency, it's 125% over APD rates. What I love about finding ways to increase the revenue without increasing the population is that we can continue to be small and very like strategic in how we build out our residency, who we hire on as staff, and give,
services.
Our services are more individualized and unique. And I, quite honestly, I would prefer to not have to fill up the house to hit my revenue targets because we can better focus on a smaller amount of residents, I think. So anytime I can find an option to like push the numbers up and meet financial targets while not having to like compromise quality of care or spread any staff thin or have a, fill up the house too quickly, that's always great for me.
Yeah, awesome. We didn't talk about the home health agency and the licensing piece that occurred.
Okay, home health agency. Um,
We were fighting, waiting.
yeah, Medicare. I filled out my Medicare application. They took a long ass time. What you thought was gonna be like a 3 month to review, it took 6 months finally. But of course, I wasted my first 6 months in my 1 year term to get accredited. Um, and so my last 6 months, I wasn't able to turn it around. I ultimately had to pay for an extension to get a second year to attempt to get accredited because I didn't get my Medicare approval until 6 months later. That's my own fault. But we live and we learn.
But when you were waiting for your Medicare letter, you're calling them
And what?
and they told you the letter that you received was it.
That was after 6 months. We still waited for 6 months to get that letter. And then 1 month after the 6 month wait, when they finally said, okay, we have all the documents, we're not asking for nothing else, I got an email about something. I forward this email, but the email don't say nothing. The email just says, we received all your stuff. It don't say you're moving to the next step. It doesn't say conditional approval. It don't say nothing. It just say we got all your stuff. So a month later, I called to follow up like, hey, I'm still waiting on this Medicare approval letter. When will that come? How will that come? And they were like, oh, I can see that you got it already. I was like, but what do you mean? Where? Where did you send it? And so she tells me, and I was like, this letter, it says nothing. She was like, oh yeah, they change the letter all the time. They keep updating the language. And now it doesn't say any of that, but that letter that you have, that's what that means. So nothing in the letter in reading it lets you know that that's your Medicare approval letter. But anyways, we finally figured that out. And so now I can call for readiness once I complete my census and serve 10 clients and have 7 active. So in that first 6 months, as we were waiting for the Medicare letter, we had brought in 10 clients, served them. But then once we had to do the extension because the Medicare letter didn't come, we were like, okay, let's just stop. Let's discharge everybody, wait for this letter, and then start over. So this time around, it should be a lot easier. That first few 6-month run was like extremely stressful because you had to learn all the paperwork, you had to learn the software, you had to learn all of the rules, and you're serving 10 clients, and it was just a lot. This second time around, because we will have our 3 discharged already, we just need to bring back in 7 clients, create all of their new paperwork, and the moment they're in the system and their new paperwork is created, they are active, and I'm going to call for readiness, so that they can come check out the files. Because what I didn't want to do is like be doing pro bono visits for months on end prior to getting it finalized. So yeah, after having done this, I don't want a home health agency. But I was in too deep and I had spent too much money, and so I couldn't back out. So if you or anyone you know is interested in having a home health agency, but you don't have the upfront income to do it, call me. Like, we may be able to work something out because I have one that I don't want.
Yeah, now we're gonna go have breakfast.
Yes, breakfast.
Thanks for being a good sport.
Do you know the girls' names that came to the conference?
They said their names on their episode, but yeah, just talk about.
Shout out to the 2 ladies that saw a post about us attending the family cafe, and they drove from Tampa area to come sit at 8:30 in the morning to listen to my presentation. I think it was Erica and Angelina. Thank y'all.
There's some real ones because I only posted one short story on,
I was like, how
on
did
Instagram
you know?
on like
and they called the group home. I was like, how did you get my number? But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all's support, the words of encouragement. Like, as much as I hate making these videos, I am happy to know that my pain is
Serving a purpose.
Is serving a purpose.
Yes, thank you, ladies. All right.